Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today is one of the videos that I have been dying to talk to you about, and it is what I would do with one day in Capri, Italy in the Amalfi coast. Even though we were only there for a day, which is entirely too short, I do think a lot of people end up in this situation because they may be there on a cruise or something like that. Maybe it's a day trip from Naples or Rome and they don't have a lot of time and they just want to know, what should I do when I am there? So I'm going to tell you what I completely recommend, what I don't recommend, and what I will do when I go back. This was such an amazing trip for us, and just even though it was only a day, we think about it every day, and it's been almost 5 years. So that's how good this place is, and I can't wait to tell you about our experience and our tips. This video is in a series of other travel videos. I've done several already and several are still coming up. So if you're not already subscribed, I would love to have you. It's that red subscribe button down below, and then there's also a bell notification that you can hit so you get notified when new videos are up. So if you are a travel junkie like me, then definitely make sure that you hit those buttons. In addition to travel videos, I put out videos every single week, not just about travel, but videos about how to make life easier and better. If there's a system that could make things better and easier, I do a video on it. So whether it's organization, cleaning, cooking, lifestyle, motherhood, or travel, that is what you're gonna find here. So if you're interested in any of those topics, make sure you subscribe for those as well. So the day we got to Capri, we came from Florence, Italy. And just to briefly tell you about why we were there for such a short amount of time, we had a trip where we were going to go to one place in Italy and only that place, and then that turned into, oh, but this city's really close and this city's really close, and it ended up being like 4 countries, 11 days, and in all I think we saw about 17 cities. And we actually had a relaxing and super fun time. So but anyway, when we first booked this trip, I didn't even know much about the Amalfi coast. I was just researching some stuff about Italy, and I read so many things that were like, oh, go to the Amalfi coast, it's incredible. And I was like, oh, well shoot, okay, I'm sold. So we did. So we decided to work our way down to the south of Italy and then kind of work our way back up pretty much. So we were already in Florence. We took a train to Naples and then took a hydrofoil, which is a very fast boat, to Capri. So we woke up and had breakfast in Florence at our hotel and then checked out, and then we were supposed to take a train to Naples, which we did, and then get on another train to Pompeii, see that very, very quickly, and then get on the very fast boat, the hydrofoil, to Capri. And in case you are also coming to Capri from Florence, I'm going to include which trains we took in case it helps. I don't know if anything has changed, but I will include that down below in the description bar, just if that makes planning a little bit easier. Well, they say that the trains are always on time in Europe, but always is a pretty absolute term, isn't it? So yeah, the one train that was late on our entire trip, the only real snafu in our entire itinerary, and remember, we saw a lot in a short amount of time, so this is the only thing that went wrong. That train was late, so I think just our train to Florence, or from Florence to Capri, was late, so we missed our train to Pompeii. So we missed Pompeii altogether. However, that actually ended up kind of being a good thing. Bad because we really did want to see Pompeii, but it was a good thing in that we got more time on Capri. Upon arriving in Capri, we had planned to go on a boat tour, which we did, and we'll get into that. But I had emailed the people even before we left the States, and I don't want to say begged, but just like really asked them if they wouldn't mind doing kind of a shorter boat tour than they normally do, because we just didn't have that much time, but we still really wanted to do a boat tour. And so I asked if we could, instead of just going around the whole island, could we just do like half of it and come back? Because then we'd have to get on the hydrofoil again to go back to the mainland to get to our hotel so that we could be close to the train in the morning when we left. But because we missed Pompeii, we had more time. We had enough time to do the entire boat tour like they normally do. So I emailed them again, and they actually, we were able to communicate very quickly. And I was like, hey, we're gonna be there for longer. Can we do the longer one after all? And they said yes, because I mean, worst case, they would have said no, and we would have just explored around Capri, which would have been perfectly fine as well. But first, because our train took us to Naples, I wanted to tell you something really cool that we saw there. We got in a taxi, and the taxi was taking us to where we'd get on the hydrofoil, and he pointed something out the window and he said, do you see all of that construction over there? That is where they're going to build a subway, but when they started digging, they found ruins. So I have a picture of that. That was so cool to see. And we were just seeing it as kind of like as it was being discovered. It was awesome. So we saw that, we ate lunch, we get on the hydrofoil, and we actually had views of Mount Vesuvius. So even though we missed Pompeii, we could still see Mount Vesuvius. So that was really neat as well. So we get to Capri, this beautiful island, and we go straight to Cafe Augusto, which is kind of right when you get off the boat. And that's where we were told to meet for our boat tour. So we meet up with this woman, and she tells us that the whole tour, which is called Gianni's Boats. Gianni's dad is who drove us on this boat tour, and Gianni's cousins own or work at this Cafe Augusto. So we had carry-on luggage with us the entire time, but they said that we could go lock it up in one of the rooms upstairs. And while we're waiting for Gianni's dad to come give us the boat tour, we had a few minutes, and the woman ordered us some limoncello. And I had never had it, but it's very popular in the Amalfi Coast. So it's basically just like vodka, lemon, and simple syrup. And truth be told, I didn't love it the first time, but there was homemade limoncello on the boat by Gianni's mom, and it was incredible. So I really like it now, especially because it just reminds me of the trip. Okay, so by this point, we are on the boat. Gianni's dad, Antonio, is the kindest man on planet Earth. He took us around, he gave us extra time in each little cove. He was a very knowledgeable tour guide. He told us history about the island. He told everything. He was like our personal photographer all day. Like, he just kept taking our camera and saying like, oh, kiss here, like smile, like, and so that we could have all of these photos. And at first we were like, oh no, it's okay, you don't have to take another picture. And he's like, no, I'm absolutely going to. And it was wonderful because now we have all of these photos and memories, and I'm so excited he did. So thank you, Antonio. Antonio even invited us to his house that night for dinner. Like, his wife was gonna make us dinner, but we couldn't go because we had to get back to the mainland and get to our hotel. Anyway, this was the most perfect day ever. I found videos of this trip, like when gathering footage for this video, and I'm even saying in the video, this is the best day of my life. Like, and my husband agrees. Like, we just had the best time. It was beautiful. This was early October, but it was warmish. Like, the water was cold, but the day was beautiful. And so, yeah, so he took us around the entire island. He's telling us about every single little thing. He's pointing out castles. He's pointing out like which celebrities have stayed here in the past. And he's our photographer. He's giving us limoncello. He pulled over at one point to go fishing, which was so cool. And oh, we went fishing with him. Yes, so anyway, it was just the most perfect day. Also on this boat tour, we went to one of the real landmark places in Capri, and that is La Grotta Azzurra, which is the Blue Grotto. It is this grotto that you go in, and it has the most incredibly blue water you have ever seen in your life. Like, it's just, I'm speechless. I don't know. It's just wonderful. I'm gonna show you pictures. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And you pull up to it. You have to have cash with you, so just be prepared. So we're arriving by boat, but you actually then have to pay someone else money to get in their little bitty rowboat. And you actually kind of have to lie down while entering the cave of the grotto, like the opening, and then you can sit back up once you're in there, and you just sit and you enjoy the water a little bit. Our boat, what do we call that? Our captain, the one in the rowboat with us, he actually started singing like it was a gondola at one point, and you're not supposed to swim in there. But guess who did? This guy looked at us and asked us, do you want to jump in? And we were wearing our swimsuits under our clothes anyway, and I swear we were like half out of our clothes already, and we're like, yeah, no, we're ready. We were like just hoping this would happen, but everything we had ever read about it said you cannot go in the water because like if you have sunscreen on and just all this stuff, it can taint the water and not make it look as beautiful and blue and everything like that. When he gave us the opportunity, we were on it. We were like half in the water. We're like, okay, we can go where? And so we swam around in there. He took pictures of us. It was like completely incredible, but it was so cool because we didn't expect to get that opportunity. We didn't know it would be offered, but like just in the weeks leading up to the trip, I was like, I'm gonna be ready. Like if we can go in that water, I don't care if it's freezing, I'm doing it. Like I just kept saying that over and over, and then it happened. The other landmark places we went to some other grottos. There's a green grotto as well, and we went there. There is one that kind of looks like a heart. So Antonio took us up there, and we got to like touch the rock and everything. And then there's these giant rocks that you sail through, and those are called the Faraglioni. So that's a very popular and famous view of Capri, and the one that you go under is called the Lover's Arch, so you're supposed to kiss underneath it and then have everlasting love, so we did that. But I am telling you, it was really just like the best day, and I can't recommend it enough. I know that there are a lot of other companies that do boat tours there. I'm sure they're good too, but we had the whole boat to ourselves. We didn't have to share with a million other people. We just had this amazing experience. We had the kindest guy showing us around. It was just the perfect day. So I can't recommend it enough. I'm definitely gonna have their website down below for you. Okay, so when we got back from the tour, which I think he gave us a little extra time too, it was just, yeah, I'll go back and do Pompeii another time. I'm so glad it worked out the way it did. So we get home from the tour, well, to Capri. So we get there and we just walk around town a little bit. We didn't have time to see a lot of the things that actually had been recommended to me. I knew a woman who had been there several times before, and she said go to Ravello, which is kind of a part of Capri where you have amazing views, and so next time. But we walked around town a little bit. We saw a bunch of places to get limoncello, but we only had carry-on luggage. I would have bought some and brought it back, but you know, you can only have like 3 ounces of liquid in your bag. So anyway, we just walked around there. There are pictures of the limoncello shops. You can see lemons that are like, no lie, this big, sometimes like as big as my head. And there's just lemon scented everything. And there was a perfume there that I actually regret not buying. It smelled like lemon and vacation. Just whatever that smells like. Actually, I'm not even sure if it even had that much lemon in it. It just smelled amazing, and scent is the strongest tie to memory. And actually, I would give that as a vacation tip, is if you can find some sort of scent on vacation, get it, because it'll just remind you of that trip. I actually ended up getting this little lemon perfume from Pacifica, and it's very affordable. You can find it at Target as well. It's called just Malibu Lemon, but it reminds me of that trip, and I wear it a lot. Also, speaking of souvenirs, some very easy souvenirs that I would recommend getting and bringing back to people or for yourself, and that we actually did, was tea towels. And we've done this in a lot of different places before, but Capri is the place where we first did that. So we have a tea towel that actually has the limoncello recipe on it, and we have a matching apron, and then we got the same for my mom. And funny enough, I was at my neighbor's house the other day, and she had a similar apron. It still had the limoncello recipe on it, and it was a gift. So then I'm going back and I'm digging up footage for this video, and I find a video of us when we were buying the apron and us like deciding, like you can hear us talking to the lady, and she's telling us like about different aprons, and we wanted one in Italian, and she's like, oh, this one has German, but this one is all in Italian. We're like, oh yeah, definitely that one. But it was funny because I found that like the day after I was at my neighbor's house talking about limoncello aprons. Also, the Amalfi Coast just has beautiful tile everywhere, on the walls, on the floors. It's my favorite. I would love to build a bathroom near our pool and use that kind of tile. So we sadly had to leave Capri, and we take the hydrofoil back to the mainland to Salerno. And on the way there, we had to stop at Positano to either drop someone off or pick someone up or something. So Positano is like the quintessential views that you see if you're gonna like Google image the Amalfi Coast, like you see that all the buildings kind of built into the cliffside and the beach. If you've ever seen Under the Tuscan Sun, there's a part of the movie where that's where they are. So it was absolutely beautiful, and I'm really, really glad we got to see it, even though it was just from the boat, but that actually gave us like the perfect view. So we did that, and then we got back to Salerno just long enough to, I don't know, look like one or two places, and then get in a taxi and go to Maori, which is where our hotel was. So it was just kind of expensive to stay in Capri, and we kind of had to do this the way we did rather than staying in Capri, because if we had, we wouldn't have had enough time to wake up, check out, get on the hydrofoil, get back to the mainland in time to make our connections for trains and everything like that to carry on with the rest of the trip. So while I would have loved to stay in Capri, we still stayed on the Amalfi Coast. But anyway, so we get to our hotel, we ate dinner there, we had drinks on their terrace bar, we had an amazing breakfast the next day, which was included, and the views were incredible. Our room was bigger than I thought it would be. It was called Hotel Panorama. It was covered in all that beautiful tile like I was talking about earlier. So we did have a really good time there. So that hotel was wonderful. I really did enjoy it. We had to check out pretty early. I mean, we were done with breakfast and checking out probably by 8 a.m., but we got to see kind of like post-sunrise views of the Amalfi Coast as we drank coffee and ate breakfast, and it was a good time. So we got in a taxi back to Salerno, and even those views were incredible too. I have some pictures of that. And then we got on our train to Rome, which is going to be my next video. And it's not just what we did in Rome, it's how we saw Rome in 5 hours and still have fun. Now let me tell you about what I would do going back. I would have flown into either Rome or Naples, probably just whichever's cheaper. Probably Rome, and see the things that I didn't get to see in our 5-hour little excursion over in Rome. And then go down to Naples, get on the hydrofoil, go to Capri, and spend all of the rest of my trip on the Amalfi Coast. And I would have split it up between Capri, and while on Capri, I would do the boat tour again. I would absolutely do it again. I would have gone to Ravello and just kind of soaked in those sites. There is a hotel that I kind of stalk online sometimes. I follow it on Instagram. That sounds really good to me. I would have stayed there or somewhere similar, and I would have done the Gardens of the God or Walk of the Gods walk. It's like this beautiful hike with amazing coastal views. So I would have done that. And yeah, I just would have soaked in all of Capri as much as I could, walked around the town more, because what we saw were mostly just like the little shops right by the boat, but there's a whole lot more to see. And I would have done that, and then I would have done a couple days in Positano. So I would have taken a ferry over there and then stayed at Le Cyrenus Hotel, which I see online all the time, and it looks incredible. And yeah, so I would have just split it up between Positano and Capri, and yeah, that would have been how I would have done the itinerary if I could have just gone and done it over. All right, guys, so those are my tips for Capri. That's my experience in Capri. I really hope that if you go, you check out Gianni's boats, because it obviously had a very profound effect on us, and we think about it all of the time. We loved it so much. Really, just that entire area is so breathtakingly gorgeous. I can't wait to go back. If you've ever been to Capri or the Amalfi Coast in general, please let me know down in the comments, or if you're going, let me know if this got you excited for your trip. And stay tuned, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out. The next travel video is going to be about how we did Rome in 5 hours, so definitely don't want to miss that. All right guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.